What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, today I've got for you just one story from r/best of Redditor updates. It's a relationship story, as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, and it's a pretty savage one, to be honest. This woman decides to not let her brother back into her life at all after he comes crying to her, complaining and devastated at the fact that his ex has now cheated on him once again. Guys, let me know in the comments down below if you do go on to enjoy this episode. Only one story, a little bit shorter than usual, but yeah, let me know. Would you like to see more shorter episodes or fewer longer episodes, or just more longer episodes? Just trying this out. So yeah, let me know what you think. Oh, and make sure to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Absolutely. That just goes without saying. Anyway, let's get into the story. Am I the jerk for not comforting my brother after his wife cheated on him again? This was originally posted on August the 17th, 2024. About 9 years ago, my brother's wife left him for another man. She was cheating on him all that time. My brother was devastated. They'd married very young. I was always against it. I had my brother in my apartment for months. He'd fallen into a severe depression, and I was the one who paid for a psychologist since he didn't have any money and even lost his job because he didn't even want to move from the couch or bath. I even gave him a bath. Look, I wasn't bothered by that. I did everything for my brother. She just left and blocked him from everything. She simply confessed to him that she'd been cheating on him for a year and that she was in love with that man. 4 years after that, when my brother was finally starting to feel better, she reappeared in everyone's life. The typical thing happened. She and her lover were no longer together. She'd begun to receive psychological help and changed completely. She felt regretful. She was really sorry, etc. I told my brother all the time to cut off contact with her for the sake of his mental health. He didn't. I always had a bad feeling and I could smell the poop from afar. He started to justify her past actions all the time, saying that she's changed, they were too young, she was having problems and more, and he got angry when I told him that she is still a female dog. Shortly after that, they got back together, and my brother cut off all contact with me because I, quote, didn't accept their relationship, and he didn't want anyone to come between them. I told him to F off, and we didn't talk anymore. Now, my brother has reappeared at my house after years without him wanting to talk to me, only to tell me that his wife cheated on him again, but this time they have children. In the past, I would have let him in, hugged him and everything, but he's gone years without even inviting me to meet his children. He's not even spoken to me to congratulate me on my marriage or on my pregnancy. I even invited him to my wedding, and he didn't come. I told him that at this moment, I can't let him be in my house, which is actually true because I can't have that kind of stress. He told me that we are siblings and he needs me, but I told him that I needed him too, but he was never there, and he cut me off for that woman. We had an argument and my husband ended up kicking him out because I was already crying. He's staying with our parents now, and my mother just tells me it's not the time to hold a grudge against him and he needs me, but I can't forget how he didn't think twice before cutting off all contact with me for her. Okay, so that is it for the first post. Let's jump into some comments. Somebody said something along the lines of, why do people who have clearly been cheated on by people like that end up going back to those same people? Which I suppose is a fair question, but I don't know, it's easier said than done. Anyway, OP replied, I don't understand it either, but the truth is that he had never gotten over that relationship. My brother went back to her because she basically sweetened his ear with things like she was getting psychological help, that she was sorry for everything. She even came to tell me that she was really sorry for everything. And then somebody else actually commented, you were way too involved in your brother's life. You bathed him because he was depressed, which is a terrible comment, and as you can probably imagine, it was heavily downvoted. OP says, way too involved? No, I was giving him the support he needed. Some people are so depressed they even need help bathing. I'm a nurse. I've taken care of people in the same state, or even people who needed help eating or brushing their teeth. Yeah, completely fair. Obviously, you'd do anything to help your brother at that moment in time. But let's talk about the actual story now, and I'm not sure. I'm really not. Anyway, let's get into the update, which was posted a week later, which will probably give us some more clarity, and then I'll give my thoughts. I've spoken to my mum because she kept trying to persuade me to talk to my brother. She came to see me since I cannot move too much. She basically told me that my brother is very sorry, and I told her that then he should tell me that and not her. but my mum replied that my brother is too embarrassed about his actions. Okay, I've got to just stop things there. If you're too embarrassed about your actions to apologize, then there is something wrong with you. And you are, well, I can't use the P word, but you're a cat, is all I'll say. You know, where are your balls, my friend? It's not that hard to apologize for something that you've done wrong, even if you've done something as badly as this. Anyway, let's continue. I told her that I'm not going to let her be any kind of mediator, and my brother is old enough to speak for himself. Exactly. I know he was sending her to insist that I talk back to him, but my brother is an adult and can speak for himself. That said, 2 days ago, my brother actually came to my house to talk about everything. He told me something that I always knew, which is that he never got over his ex-wife, and he was always totally blind for her. He believed that all of us who are against him coming back to her were toxic, and he should cut us out of his life because we were an obstacle that didn't believe people can change. So that's what he did with me. He blocked me from his life. He said that he feels ashamed of himself for having been so blind since she cheated on him again. I never told him I told you so, nor am I going to, because he already knows that. There were many people worried about whether their children were his, but I can assure everyone that they are. They look identical to him, and luckily she was, well, maybe faithful at that time. Anyway, after talking, he apologized to me and told me that he needs me, but I told him the same thing as that day. I needed him too, and he was never there. I forgive him for everything, but that doesn't mean that I want to go back to everything being like before, because I don't want to put myself in that situation again. He didn't even tell me what he's going to do with his wife, and I don't want the situation to repeat. I never did anything expecting something in return, but it hurt me a lot that he turned his back on me without thinking twice and only came back when things got bad for him. I'd invited him to my wedding, maybe foolishly, believing that he'd come. We didn't even do that. I even kept a seat for him, thinking that he was maybe coming later, and I feel really dumb for doing that. I told him I'm sorry, but I want things to continue as before, since I've got used to not having him in my life, and I don't trust that he won't use me as a nurse and therapist anymore. At first, he didn't understand it and said that we're siblings and we should be united, but when I told him that he forgot that for years, he shut up. So that's it. I simply told him that I prefer to continue without contact with him as before, and I've made it clear to my mother that I want to spend these months peacefully. Oh, okay, interesting end to that one. Maybe there is something going on there. We've heard nothing about OP's mum and how she is as a parent and how she's treated OP and obviously OP's brother. But yeah, interesting. That's probably an explanation in there somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of want to hear a bit more about that. Anyway, wow, that last line is hard hitting and I completely agree with it. Halfway through that, I was kind of thinking to myself, is there a world in which you just give him one more chance? And, like you can probably take solace in the fact that you know that you're just better than him. Like you're a better person. You were there for him when he needed you. He wasn't there for you when you needed him, but you're above that. You're better than that. And you can see that you're better than that and still offer support. But actually, the more I read this, the more I think, no, like you can't just have this sort of relationship where it's just completely one-sided. And yeah, I kind of do agree with the last line. Like, would you be an idiot if you did that? If you went back there again, the way that he did with his cheating ex? Probably, yeah, because you know what's going to happen in the same way that he probably knew what was going to happen as well. Obviously different for him than it is for you. Well, I don't know. It is and it isn't. Like for him, it was probably hard because, he clearly still loved her or wanted to be in a relationship. And despite all the negative things that had happened in their relationship, he still couldn't look past that. But for you, I mean, obviously, like you're not in love with him, but he is your brother. And that does count for a lot, I imagine, in your head. And I don't think this is as easy a decision as you're probably painting it out to be. I think even for yourself, OP, I feel like, there's more to it than just, this is going to happen again, therefore it's an easy answer. I'm sure in a perfect world, OP would still have a great relationship with her brother. Or if he apologized profusely and said, I'm going to change and I'm not going to be with this woman again, or just actually showed some sort of remorse or help in a time where he was needed, then OP would have acted differently and would act differently now. But it's tough. It really is tough to say to OP, you should be doing more when your brother has treated you this badly in the past.